Hello and welcome to another episode of Colourisma. It's been a minute and I'm back. We are doing another episode of Draw With Me, and today we're working on a project that I just started yesterday. And today I'm going to be drawing a chimera. So if you'd like to draw with me or you want to work on your own thing, we have this next hour to spend with each other and get going. So with that said, I will go ahead and get started. So I have my iPad here in front of me, and I've got Procreate going. Hopefully this works okay, and hopefully everyone can hear me. All right, so I am on a iPad 4, which I think they're coming out with the iPad 10 or something soon. Not sure which gen they're on, but this is from like 2014. But you don't always need like the fanciest, newest thing in order to be able to create. So I'm kind of all about that life, using products until basically you get completely unable to use them. Also, I've got a pen here, stylus, $25 off of Amazon. It's like a budget Apple Pencil, but it doesn't have anything like really, what is it called? I'm like blanking on the word, where the pressure sensitivity. There we go. Words are hard. Let's see. I do like that you can change the brushes for all of the different types of materials you can use. So like even when you're trying to use a eraser, you can use like the painting brush to be able to erase with, which is nice. So I thought about this a little bit before getting started on today's project, and I was like, okay, chimera. Let me at least just have an idea as to what to draw before I go live. And because I'm like an amateur biologist and I'm always thinking about how things, when I'm designing creatures, I'm thinking about what would be the shortest evolutional leap if you are dealing with a mythological creature, and what would be like the easiest thing for biology of a species to morph, to be able to do the thing, make it the thing that you want. A lot of times when people draw chimera, they do a lion base with, well, traditionally it's a lion, a goat, and a snake all mixed together. And the way it typically is depicted is like a lion head, a goat head, and sometimes a snake head or a snake head on a tail. So I don't want to do that because that's pretty biologically impossible. And forgive me if I'm like randomly swatting or like clapping. It's because I still don't have the gnat thing under control. I thought I had it solved for a week there, and then like apparently they're all back today because they just like me so much. But yeah, so typical chimeras have the 3 heads, and then like all the parts like all they're not even jumbled together. They're like Frankensteined onto the creature. And I always like doing things in such a way that it looks like it could actually exist in nature. So I was thinking about it, and a lion or a carnivorous mammal with horns is pretty unlikely. There's nothing even close to that exists. But a shorter stretch, something that wasn't as hard to imagine, would be a carnivorous goat. So that's what this is going to be. So the lion part, okay, I don't know why this is being difficult. The lion part is going to be in the mouth area, and basically, okay, come on, bud. But yeah, the lion part is going to be in the teeth. So it's going to have like carnivorous teeth and somewhat of a more carnivorous muzzle to accommodate the teeth compared to like a typical goat dental structure, which like doesn't even have top teeth and just has like little bottom teeth and stuff. But goats eat anything, so I'm kind of using that as the sort of evolutionary jumping point for this creature, and they just started to eat meat instead of plants or whatever. So I don't think that's too big of a leap. So we're gonna do this boring pose first, just to kind of like see if I can get the structure or play around with the anatomy and see if I can make anything interesting happen, more interesting than normal. So probably going to do away with these regular goat hooves because can't really catch prey with hooves, at least not hooves in the standard way that they are in most herbivores. So we're going to have to modify those. And then I was thinking about the snake and how to add that into the creature design. And a lot of people just kind of add, like I said, a snake head on the end of the tail, which is not a thing. I can't think of a single creature, even like when you look into like the mollusks where the tail has the like mouth or whatever. Maybe I'm wrong, but so I still don't mind the idea of the snake part being the tail, but it will be like, it looks like a snake, but it's really just its tail. There's no like face or actual eating parts on the tail. So this is the part that like when I get a new iPad, I'm hoping goes a little bit better. Moving, I'm trying to rotate it and it just will not let me. It just keeps going bigger and smaller and moving from side to side, but I want to rotate it and it's just like now. So I got to like make it really big and then it's a struggle. Oh, cool. The thing is sideways. I didn't realize. Okay. Let's see if I can fix this without totally making everybody feel sick. Okay. This is the first time I had this set up, so it's still a work in progress. I got this cool little doohickey for my birthday. I apologize for all the wiggling. I'm trying to reduce that as much as possible. All right, update there. Okay. So now you can at least see it the same way I'm seeing it, so that should be a little better. Okay. Sometimes it gets to the point where I just redraw what's happening because the transform stuff is just so frustrating that it's just like, you know what? Erase and redraw. It's just easier. I'm just trying to get the legs to actually like line up. Oh, there's so many wires in my way. Let's see if I can't adjust this a little better. It's hard to even draw with like playing wire tag here. Yep. There we go. Again, sorry for the wiggling. I'm trying to have my pen not hit these wires so it doesn't wiggle like that. Oh dear, come on, bud. I wish I had some tape because then I could just tape it up there, but I don't know where that went. Why do I do this to myself? Okay, we'll just have to work around. I will light my tiny little candles because I think they're cute. It's just like little candle. All right, back to drawing. So yeah, what are you all working on art-wise? I'm curious. If you're watching live, of course, I'm curious right now. And if you're watching this later, then I'm curious to read your comment later. That's going to happen a lot. I don't know how much charge I have on this thing because it's kind of hard to see the screen. So we're just going to hope that it doesn't die for the next hour. Let's see. Okay, there we go. This doesn't really look like a goat because I don't have a lot of goat drawing experience. The anatomy is just generic ungulate. I'll probably pull up some reference here. I know goats are kind of like short in the leg, kind of got a big belly, depending on the species. And then a lot of times they have like relatively short back with kind of like prominent hip bones. Probably a little more haunch there. And then I think I was getting on about what I thought for the tail, the like snake tail thing. And another thing is like, if the tail looks a little bit like a snake or something, it's not totally out of the question for a goat to just have like a long, like end up getting a longer tail. It's not completely irrational. I definitely want horns because that's a prominent thing of, oh nice, you're also doing a chimera. Okay, the full mat could fly anywhere they want, but they want to be right here. It's very rude. Nice though. I dig the chimera. You doing a more traditional chimera or like a more organic one? I'm going to have to start pulling up reference here soon. I should have done this before I started, but I spent the whole entire hour before streaming just like going on all my various platforms, trying to let everyone know that I would be streaming because I've had a little bit of a break. Unfortunately, I've had some medical issues come up and I've had to do doctor visits and all that. And of course, they wanted to only schedule everything on Tuesdays. And I thought about changing the day I was streaming and all this stuff. And I thought that would get confusing because I'm still kind of a new channel. And when you're changing up the times and days of when you're doing stuff, that gets more confusing to people, I feel, than if you just don't stream at all. Oh, cool. Also doing a chimera that is more biological. I like it. Here, let's make this whole little creature smaller so I can fit it better on the... Come on, bud. You got this. I need to do a thing where I get all of the images off of this iPad because this poor thing is like got 1 gig left, and I don't think it had many to start with. I think it was like, I don't know, 20 gigs or something. It just looks like a normal goat right now, which I'm also kind of okay with. These are like kind of ridiculous in the horn department, but that's okay. But yeah, medical issues, unfortunately, they're like low-key, high-key, sort of serious. So been dealing with a couple of different cancer scares, which is like super fun. Fortunately, one is seeming to be okay, and then the other one is still up in the air, but I've been dealing with the other one for the past 4 years, so no one really understands how to like deal with talking about someone having cancer or potentially. Mostly it's like you get a lot of like no responses because I think you just shock people with it, even though it's a pretty common thing. And then if you might have it, but you don't actually have it, then people really don't know where to like go emotionally, because they're like, I want to feel bad, but I don't even know if you have it, and you don't even know if you have it. So how am I supposed to feel? And I'm like, exactly. That's exactly how you're supposed to feel. Weird, because you're living in this like permanent seeming halfway place of sort of, maybe it's bad, but maybe it's nothing, and you don't know. And it's really less fun than it sounds, and it sounds pretty not fun. So I had a hard time with it and dealt with it like very privately when I first learned about it. I told like a couple of people in my family, and that was pretty much it. And I like really struggled that like first year I was going through it, because there's not a lot of support. I didn't personally feel like I had a lot of support, and I didn't find a lot of support in any kind of like article or anything I read about the condition. Like, was not helpful at all. So I was just like, okay, I'll just deal with this existential crisis on my own then. That's fun. So that was interesting. It wasn't great, but you know, it got through it. Yeah, it was interesting. I'll tell you that much. I guess now, because I've been dealing with it for so long, it just doesn't register to me as even a thing. Like, I switched doctors this year, and I actually haven't been to the doctor in like since like 2018. And I switched doctors because my other doctor moved, and they tried to tell me the test results because I knew what they would be. I highly suspected that it would be inconclusive and that they would need to do further tests. And they called me, and they're all like really shy, and they're like, okay, we have some news. And I'm like, is it the thing I've been dealing with for the past 4 years? Because I already know. And then they're like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, I don't know why you this is a surprise to y'all, not me. Like, I've been dealing with this. So I get to go in next week to get another test done, which is so fun, let me tell you. It's fine. It's the same test that I've gotten before, so not too big of a deal. So I was like talking with my family about like Colourisma means a lot to me, and I had already missed a bunch of weeks, and I was trying to think of like how to keep it going, because I just kept seeing opportunities that would make it so, not opportunities, but like situations where I would have to miss, not have to, but it would be possible that I might miss some episodes again due to doctor appointments or whatever. And my mom actually came up with like a really good thing. She's like, is there any way for you to like pre-record? And I'm like, right, yes, YouTube. The main thing that people do on here is not live stream. It's pre-record stuff and then upload it. And so the next week or two, because there's this upcoming thing with me, and then there's like a national holiday, I think either the week after that or whatever, I may do some pre-recorded like hour-long episodes, probably draw with me's, but maybe an interview, we'll see. I got to write back to some people because I've been really awful of keeping up with all that, with everything going on. Yeah, so totally reminded me what YouTube even is. And my mom is not like a super techie person. She's just like stating the obvious, like, hey, how about you just pre-record some stuff? And I was like, yeah, why don't I just pre-record some stuff? It's just funny that sometimes when you're so set in something, and you're so like, I have to do a live stream, like that's your mentality, you have to do it, that your brain will not allow you to even consider alternatives. And it's kind of funny if it wasn't so annoying. Because I could have been doing this the whole time and then not missed a beat. And because the first time I kind of skipped an episode was for my first doctor's appointment. And had I thought, back then, 3 or 4 weeks ago now, to just do a pre-recorded episode, I could have just been doing that like this whole time and let y'all know and kind of keep you updated on what was happening. Because like I said, it's not a super secret. It's fine. Yeah, so, oh well, I got it sorted now. And I did see that we are up a few subscribers. I think we're up to like 23 on YouTube. So yes, very nice. I love it. That's really awesome. And I am excited about that. I think last time I checked, it was like at 17. So 17, 18, something like that. So moving up in the world. Apparently everything in my life is like slow and steady, I guess. Excruciatingly slow and steady in the way that like an eon is steady. Like, you gotta look way into the horizon, way, way, way into the horizon. That's kind of how the trajectory of my life has been going. So this vaguely looks like a goat now. Still doesn't really give a lot of vibes in the whole like predator department. So I'm going to do the thing I do typically. Actually, I'm going to make a copy of this layer. I don't know why I'm talking like this. All right. Hide that one. Keep that one. I'm going to lower the opacity a bit and shrink it up as like a reference. Keep it right. Maybe right here will be enough out of the way. There we go. All right. Now this is the point when I typically pull up some reference because, and I will here in a second, but let's see if I can do it without disturbing my computer. I'm going to pull it over onto this other monitor here. So I'll be looking this way a bit. Goat. Yeah, so I do the sketch so I can get the idea I want, and then I will start pulling in reference to match my idea. I typically work that way, and I don't work the other way a whole lot. I think these horns are, I think it's called an Angolian goat. Has horns like this, if I'm, yeah, there we go. Angora goat, I guess. Let's see. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. There's definitely a type of goat where it's got really big, long horns like that. What did I call it? Not Mongolian. Angora, maybe. Let's see. I know a little bit about a lot of things when it comes to animals. Oh yeah, that is it. That is kind of it. Angora goat. Yeah, that's cool. Mine is a little bit, yeah, like that one. Oh, y'all can't see because I guess I could have brought it up on my iPad, but my iPad is very slow. So, yeah, kind of flat, long, and going directly behind the head. Some are more like outwards like this and curvy. I kind of have a mix of both of like long and backwards, but also a little curvy. Goat anatomy, so fun. All right. So I'm just gonna look at regular goats here. Their backs are like very flat. And then they got just like this really like curved hip bone that goes from the top of the hip bone down to the beginning of the femur, I believe. Gotta think of my ungulate anatomy here, just on the fly. All right. For this particular species I'm working on, I'm going to go with the smaller ears. Yeah. The long-eared ones are cute, but I think that for a predator, you want shorter ears. You don't see a lot of predator animals have long, floppy, droppy ears that aren't domesticated anyway. Let's see how we doing on time. Okay, we got about 30 minutes left to create this creature. So let's get going. Just trying to get, goats are so funny. They make the funniest faces. There's one sticking his tongue out here. There's one wearing sunglasses. He's very cool. There's another one sticking out its tongue. They're so funny. I like them so much. I like this coloration in this, like, looks more like a wild coloration in the sense that it's got like this dark stripe down the middle and then two white stripes across either eye and then like on the cheek that's got like brown coloration that extends into their whole body. I really like that for camouflage, and it kind of reads as a predator, kind of. Not exactly, but like a tiger typically has like the orange markings, and then they got like a white little area right around their eye, and then they have like the white around the chin like this one does. So I'm going to borrow that. I might add stripes or spots just for funsies. I need a whole body. I need a whole entire body. Where's a goat? A full goat that's not a baby. Oh, that's hard to find. I know this is the most exciting part of the stream for y'all watching. But, you know, this is how drawings go. It's a lot of this. It's a lot of, like, I'll just use that first one. It's not the coloration I want, but it does show the whole goat. I think it's a mini goat, though. Oh, no, this one's better. Come on. So 20 years in, and Mac still doesn't natively have like a middle click track button. So I actually have this little app from 10 years ago or whatever called Middle Click, and it's actually obsolete. Like, it shouldn't be running with this upgrade of software that I have for this OS. But if I just go to the dock and just click the app, it makes it work. Whenever I put the computer to sleep, it stops working. And then if I click that app, it just like starts working again. So I'm going to use that for as long as I can. I'm actually about obsolete on my whole entire system anyway. I technically can't upgrade to the newest OS. So I'm telling you, I use this tech until you can't use it anymore. All right. So I'm doing this for a project, and I'm hesitating because I'm trying to think of a pose to do, and the project I'm doing is going to be for an art book. So every image I want to look pretty good in the sense of, like, I want it to really read as a really interesting, fun image that people want to like pause and actually look at, both for social media reasons and also to make my book interesting. So I'm pausing because I'm like imagining like every second like a different pose, and then either X-naying it or maybe potentially going with it. I kind of want to put it in like a little bit of a predator. Ooh, I got an idea. It's like I want to put it in a predatory pose that's a little bit threatening, but I couldn't think of anything at the time. Let's see. I've got one though. It's gonna be like up, like looking up at it, and I'm gonna do better anatomy here in a second. I'm just trying to get the like overall pose kind of threatening, like an upward shot looking down. I also want really clear and good silhouette. I'm going to work on the feet anatomy here in a bit. Predatory historically herbivorous. Not sure if that's a word, but animals that are historically herbivores turned carnivores is a theme in my project, The Golden Shrew. So this fits right in. And as soon as I thought of it, I was like, yes, that's perfect. Creepy carnivorous goats. Yeah, let's do it. And also, ooh, you know what? Some goats have like a big mane kind of thing. So totally adding that in because that reads more lion for sure. Let's see. Let me shrink the whole thing. So one thing I've been noticing a lot with, oh no, I did it all in the same layer. Why? Y'all know my pain. But one thing I've been noticing with Procreate, besides drawing in the wrong layer, I was wondering why it was so light. Oop. Cut. This is real time too. This is, if you see it taking a second, that is exactly how it's not a network thing. It's my iPad thing. But anyway, point being, 2 layers? What? No. Well, that sucks. I was warned about this. It's telling me my limit is only 2 layers. Wah. And I think it's because the canvas is so big. So originally, the point I'm trying to make, what I found is that instead of like trying to make the anatomy or the features that I want go off the page, I've been shrinking the character itself to fit on the screen, and that's been working out pretty well. But because, like I said, the memory and data issues with this iPad, it's only allowing me 2 layers. So I'm like sitting here deciding, like, does the little tiny goat have to go? And I think the little tiny goat has to go. So it's fine. I already have a backup goat, so it's fine. Bye, bud. I could have just deleted that layer. Let me just do that. There we go. Okay, now paste. Please paste. There we go. Okay. So make him a little smaller so he can fit his whole entire body on this canvas. Let's see, I'm on the right layer. Okay, so it's gonna be interesting creating this. I'll probably, after the stream, like get rid of some space on this iPad so I can actually, I don't typically do a ton of layers, but more than 2. So I like the look of these horns, but I'm sitting here drawing them and I think they look really cool. But as I'm drawing them, I'm thinking to myself, what good are they for a predator? And the more aggressive ungulates, like if you look at water buffalo or bison, North American bison, their horns are all forward because they don't have a problem with using those horns as self-defense. And I think that could easily be morphed from a predator, prey creature to a predator creature, from a defensive kind of utility to offensive for getting prey. All right, little bud, I'm shaping up. I like this pose. The thing is, I don't know a goat species with forward-facing horns. I feel like if I change it, then it's not going to read as goat anymore. It's going to read as tiny bull or something. So I might leave it just for aesthetic reasons. Maybe they still have their goat sensibilities about them, in the sense of like the traditional ways that goats use their horns for fighting each other over mates, or headbutting things. They love doing that. They just headbutt their prey to death. That's so mean. I don't know why I'm laughing, but that just, I don't know. That's not funny. It's a little bit funny. All right. So goats have, technically they have like 4 little hoovies. They've got the 2, there we go. They got like 2 main ones out front, and then they got, come on, hand. What am I trying to do? Okay. They have 2 little toes that come forward, and then they got like these 2 in the back. I don't know if it's actually this orientation, if that's analogous to humans. I wouldn't be surprised. That makes sense. That kind of checks out. But yeah, so when they stand on these 2 little toes. It's really hard to kind of, and then these 2 little, this is really difficult, kind of just sit in the back. And what they use these back little toesies for is for climbing on things, because you know goats are really super good climbers, and those little extra toes help them to grip onto things. I find it really useful to do comparative anatomy for myself, because basically every mammal and reptile, and even birds to an extent, has comparable anatomy to both humans and just other mammals. We have a very unique orientation as humans in this like vertical arrangement, but all of the parts are the same. The shoulder, except for maybe clavicles. Many quadrupeds do not have clavicles. That's a kind of unique human and other. There's a few other animals that don't rely on their front limbs for exclusively for balance and mobilization, so they don't use their front limbs for walking necessarily all the time. So the animals that evolve that way do have clavicles, and the ones that are like this guy and all on all fours, as they say, do not have clavicles. Fun fact. Now you can go back to the rest of your day not, knowing that now, and doing what you will with that information. It doesn't hurt them or anything. It doesn't bother them. It's just an extra support system for the fact that we are vertical and upright. So it's an extra support system for our arms, because you also have to think like a goat's shoulder is all the way up here, all the way inside of their body. I don't know why I looked over there, but it's all the way inside of their body. Then they have their forearm, all of this, which is outside of our body. Our shoulders are outside of our body, and fully mobile, in like almost like a 360 kind of way. And then they have the elbow, and then finally the first part of their anatomy that kind of goes outside of their body is this part of their arm. So it goes from their elbow to this part of their arm, and then all of that area right here, which I don't know if it's gonna update. There we go. What we typically call the knee is not a knee, it's a wrist. So the front part of a ungulate, especially, and all ungulates, all hoofed animals, is that knee part is a wrist. And then and you can tell there's generally this part of the wrist, all of these trying to think of metacarpals, are just really long. They're just like really, really long. And then the toe digits get extended as well, or reduced. But yeah, so that's how animals that have hooves move around. It's all the same anatomy. It's just in a completely different configuration. And we look really weird if you compare our anatomy to that, because like, look at how tiny our metacarpals are. They're so small. Like they're right, like, you know, if I was a horse or something, this would be like all so long, but like on us, it's just like this little tiny hand. So sometimes I think about other animals to the point where I actually get weirded out by human anatomy because we are super weird compared to other animals for sure. So yeah, that tail. So I'm going to add a longer tail, and I will come up with some evolutionary thing as to why. I'm thinking cats. Most cats have longer tails. So I'm thinking for this predatory goat, Chimera, it's an aid in like much like the snow leopard that hunts goats on the side of cliff faces. It's kind of like an evolutionary thing that way. And I'm struggling to think of a way to make it look like a snake, and why should it or would it look like a snake? I'm sure there's a goat with like a kind of a mane already. There's definitely long-haired goats. Let me Google it real quick. Long-haired goat. Boop. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Luxurious mane. Oh, good stuff. Look at that. He's so cute. Oh my gosh. Goats are so freaking cute. All right. So I just spent this time like really kind of like getting this anatomy here on the chest and in the neck, and then I'm just going to cover it up with fur, which makes me a little sad, but it's fine. I'm also going to pull up, this is why I end up having like 20 tabs open, is because I need all of them to be able to do my drawings. Pulling up lion, because I want to kind of see how their manes are. Though I'm actually going to be basing this on not an African lion, but an Asiatic lion, which do not have as thick or full manes, because a lot of animals kind of have comparable anatomy with each other due to like climate and temperate reasons, temperature-related reasons. Oh yeah, I really enjoy. I am so happy with this design. This is really, like, once I added that mane, I was like, oh, yeah, that's definitely a Chimera. That's really cool. Like, I could see how somebody could be like, that thing's a mix of a lion and a goat, and I gotta figure out a good, like, snake reference. I'll have to think on that one. It's definitely gonna be related to the tail, but it's just, like, gonna be a normal tail that looks kind of like a snake for some reason. I just gotta come up with that reason. I mean, I don't have to, but I feel like I have to. I like having reasons for biology when I'm designing creatures. Or at least a reason that kind of makes some kind of sense, like keeping these horns the way they are. Because he's still a goat at heart. You know, it's just a subspecies of goat that happens to be carnivorous. So they can still have normal goat horns. I was just worried that it would mess up their hunting ability somehow. In a way, they're kind of a protection against predators themselves, because I imagine they're still small enough. I'm thinking this thing is definitely bigger than a mini goat, but like probably about the size of a mountain goat, which is bigger than you think, but also smaller than you think. If you think it looks like the size of a horse, it's smaller than that. But it's definitely bigger than a typical goat, a typical domesticated goat. There's a lot of animals like that. Like raccoons are definitely bigger than you might think. Oh, you know what? Raccoons are about the size of cats, and I think most people kind of know that. The one that's a little surprising is a possum, because you think of like a possum being like this big or something, like a little possum, and they are like the size of a really big cat, like a 15-pound cat. I don't know if they're 15 pounds all that often, but they're really a lot bigger than you think if you've seen one in person. I think I'm going to do that typical like goat chin beard thing. All right, now for the goat face. All right, got 15 minutes. This is like a placeholder, generic. I'm going to move back to the goat to get the anatomy. They have kind of a... I've been noticing a lot of animals have like this cranial divide, like split in their skull. And you can really see it in a lot of species. Once you do some digging and really look. I drew a rhino yesterday for the project, and couldn't see it as much on a black rhino, which is what I was using for reference, as well as a Indian rhino. But the Indian rhino, you can kind of see just a little bit of like a separation, which, you know, isn't too shocking. But it was neat to kind of like notice that and discover it. I think I'm going to make their eyes more forward facing, which for when you make a prey animal have more forward facing eyes, it's got a real neat, subtle creepiness factor to it, which is like kind of fun. But they're still going to have the horizontal pupil that goats have. Because I think that would take a long time for that to evolutionarily go away, probably even longer than it would take for a goat to turn carnivorous. It's pretty baked into their genome there. I'm going to go for a shorter snout because not a lot of predators have very, very long faces. Herbivores tend to have long faces because they need to accommodate all of those teeth for chewing. And because these little chimeras are going to be carnivores, they don't need as many grazing teeth. They're going to have, as odd as this sounds, they're going to have a mouth similar to ours in the teeth structure, where the front teeth are more chompy, like terry, and then the back teeth are more grindy, like for grains and vegetables and stuff. I love it. Mitra said it's freaking terrifying, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So I'm also going to kind of combine. So goats have like this little lovely like, I forgot the name. This when people. So fun fact, I was watching Hank Green TikTok, and the last part to form on any creature's anatomy while they're developing as an embryo is this part right here. It's the last thing that fuses together, which is why we have this little line right here. And that's why sometimes all different types of creatures, cats, dogs, humans, sometimes have a malformed area called a cleft palate, typically, because it just didn't finish forming, which is something that happens with biology. It's definitely not a perfect process. And goats have one, and it's just kind of like cute, and they do like the little, you can do like the little kitty mouth, but it like also looks like a goat mouth. So this is going to work out great. I'm very excited about this. But it's going to be a little bit more feline. I still want to kind of keep the goat features, so I think I'm going to not, I was going to add, okay. I'm such an animal nerd. So on big cats, kind of coming from the side of their nose, like basically this area on human, poofs out a lot on a cat. If I were a cat or I was like morphing into a cat, this area would just like expand out like ridiculously large. And that's to accommodate the canines, and because cats' canines go really far up into their skull, like way further than any of our human teeth. Because like a lion tooth is like that long, like almost as large as my hand. And it goes, and that's just the part you see. It goes even further up into the skull. So they have this like pouch, because they have muscles that kind of like hold on to all of that teeth. They have huge muscles that go from like the top here and then all the way up. And then they have even bigger muscles. Humans actually aren't too shabby in this department either. We actually have really a lot of muscles going to our jaws as well. I'm like trying to think of or remember the anatomy. I think it comes up from here and then goes down to here, and those are like, we got some chompers. Humans don't play around. Like, we got some chompers too, but cats definitely take it to a next level. So point being, I was going to add in the upper part like that to make it more like lion-like, but then it looks a lot less goat-like. So sometimes when you're doing this kind of stuff, you got to think to yourself like, okay, you got to have a compromise design-wise, because if you change it too much, then the mane is already kind of doing the work for me to make it look like a lion. So I don't have to work extra hard on making the mouth also look like a lion. Anything I do that's different than a goat mouth is pretty much going to make it look more predatory. Part of me really wants to actually like show the creepy goat teeth, because they're going to be way different. Come on, bud, you can do it. There we go. So I'm going to change the eye expression because he just looks like very placidly opening his mouth, which he could be like just calling to another goat or something. But I kind of want to give him a little bit more in the expression here. So typically when I'm trying to make something look a little bit more fierce, I like make their eyes either really, really big or like really small. Kind of this in-between look is what like a calm animal tends to look like. And it doesn't really help. There we go. We'll work on that. We will work on that eye, those eyes. Here we go. So the other thing is typically herbivores don't really snarl. This is actually something I've been working out with my carnivorous unicorns. And my story is that they definitely snarl. And it's very creepy to see a horse snarl at you, because that's not a move that they don't have the muscles really to do that. But of course, cats can. This thing is so rad. You add like carnivorous teeth to like a herbivore, and it just like ups the cool factor by so many points. You got to remember the teeth anatomy. So there's a break in the predatory teeth design where and ours it actually does the same thing. I don't know how I can show you, but our top canine tooth goes behind our bottom canine tooth. So if you have, I had braces, so this is the only reason why I have like a good bite. See this tooth? It goes in front of that tooth. So if you have a typical bite alignment, then that is what's going to be the case. And that's also, again, the case for predator animals, dogs, cats, I was going to say fossas, like that's a whole thing. Weasels, hyenas, all predators have that bite design. It's a little bit of a pet peeve for me to just see like jaggy, sharp teeth, and they're just like everywhere. Just that. I mean, if you're drawing a shark, sure, like go for it. But if you're drawing any kind of like terrestrial land mammal, gotta make them top canines go in behind and then leave a gap. We don't, because we have a mixed bite. We have like a omnivorous. God, I'm such an animal nerd. We have like an omnivorous bite, so we actually have a combo structure with our teeth, human teeth. But for when you're dealing with obligate carnivores, they always have a gap. And this is kind of also where this particular iPad, both my iPad and the stylus are frustrating to use, because getting really, really fine details it's pretty difficult. There's no, like I said, there's no, nope, don't want that. I don't have any kind of like pressure sensitivity with this stylus. I do have a plan though. When Apple puts out their new iPad, their 2021 iPad, I plan on getting that one because I feel like that's going to have a jump in technology that'll last me for like another 10 years. So I will, I'm planning on getting that, and I think it's going to come out in like March or April. If I'm lucky, maybe like February or something. But for now, this is perfectly good. Just a little fiddly. Let's see how we do on time. Ooh, we are almost up on time. I just chatted y'all's ears off about teeth anatomy for like 20 minutes. I'd say sorry, but I'm not sorry. If I know, you know now too. I didn't get too far on this one. It's okay though. I'm also deciding on whether or not I'm going to render all of the creatures to the level I did the rhino from yesterday, or spend maybe a couple days on creatures. I kind of have it set up as a daily challenge, but it's more like work on it every day and not so much get a full image done every day, because that gets really it gets really to be a lot, and I'm kind of dealing with a lot right now, so I'm kind of being kind to myself on this challenge, and just allowing myself to take more time or more days if necessary. So then other canine would be somewhere around there. So this is where it gets tricky, because I want the mount. Typically what I'll do if this is getting like really crowded and confusing, because I like it to read well from far away. Why do you do that, bud? It's like kind of remembers what I'm trying to do when I'm doing the lasso tool, and then at the last minute, it just cuts off part of it. And it's like, no. So I'm just gonna make his mouth even wider so it makes a more clear silhouette. But I also want the jaws to line up, because that's another pet peeve of mine, is I hate it when there's an animal with open mouth and like it wouldn't close correctly. Like a lot of people draw it in such a way that when it closed, it would close like that, like like a Venus flytrap, and that's not what you want. You want, you know, even every time. So I'll have to work on adjusting the anatomy to match, but I think that does more of what I want, in the sense of like, I think that would be where the other tooth would go. And I can move this one a little bit more forward. There we go. We'll play with that some more later. I think I'm a little over time, but I do appreciate you for joining me today. I will adjust this one last time to kind of fit onto the canvas a little better. There we go. Oh yeah, that's creepy. I'll show this face a little bit more. Yep, carnivorous goats. They're a little terrifying. But yeah, so I appreciate you joining me. The hour went by, feels like really fast. I am looking forward to getting back and doing this weekly. Whether it's pre-recorded or not, I'll of course update the description with it, the fact it's pre-recorded if it is. But I appreciate you for being here. And if you can, I'm really trying hard to grow the channel. And if you can share on social media that Tuesdays at 3 is Colourisma time, come join us, come draw with us. I do interviews with other artists to try to help them not only just chat about being an artist and what that means and their passion for their projects, but also to get their stuff out there. I believe in supporting the small artists. I feel like if you have 1 million subscribers, I don't need to help you advertise yourself, you know, like that's good. You're good. You're doing good. I'm more about like the people with like less than 1,000 followers on any platform, or, you know, doing all that. But that can only really get the traction that I want it to if more people kind of join our community. So I have a link in the Discord, a link for the Discord in the description. And as well, if you really are interested in helping support the community, we do have a Patreon over at patreon.com/Colourisma. So with that, I thank you again for joining us today and listening to me ramble about like comparative anatomy for an hour. So hopefully it was enjoyable and you learned something, and let me know what you're drawing. Take care and have a good one.